I noticed it the second she stepped into the conference room. The room fell quiet in that subtle, almost invisible way it always did when she entered. Conversations softened, chairs straightened. People adjusted their posture without realizing it. She had that effect. Calm authority. Effortless control. But that morning something was off. She was wearing my shirt, not just a similar one, not the same brand, mine. The faint ink mark near the cuff. The tiny loose thread by the second button. The slightly uneven crease I never bothered fixing. My breath caught somewhere between my chest and my throat as I stared, trying to convince myself I was mistaken. She noticed. Her eyes met mine across the table, steady and unreadable. For a moment something flickered there. Recognition. Maybe amusement. I waited until the meeting ended, my pulse drumming louder than the conversations around me. People filed out one by one, leaving the scent of coffee and tension behind. She gathered her tablet, calm as ever. "Ma'am," I said, my voice tighter than I intended. She paused, then looked at me. "Yes?" I hesitated. This was insane. She was the CEO. I was just another, mid-level employee trying to keep his career on track. But the words slipped out anyway. "Why are you wearing my shirt?" Silence. Not the awkward kind. The heavy kind. The kind that presses against your ribs. She didn't look surprised. If anything, her expression softened, like she'd been expecting the question. "Don't you remember last night?" she asked. My stomach dropped. Last night. I searched my memory, but it felt like flipping through pages that had been torn out. I remembered leaving work late. I remembered rain. After that, everything blurred into nothing. I swallowed. "No, I don't." She studied me for a moment as if deciding how much to say. Then she gestured toward the empty chair. "Sit." I obeyed. The room suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. She leaned against the table, arms crossed, her voice quieter now. "You stayed late," she began. "Later than everyone else. I noticed the lights were still on when I was leaving." I nodded slowly. That part sounded familiar. "You looked exhausted," she continued. "Like you hadn't slept in days." I let out a weak breath. "That sounds about right." "You were working on the Anderson report," she said. "You'd made a mistake. A small one, but you caught it. You were trying to fix it before morning." My chest tightened. I remembered the pressure, the fear of messing up, of losing everything I'd worked for. "You didn't have to stay," she said. "But you did." I looked down at my hands. "I couldn't afford not to." "I know," she replied softly. That made me look up. There was something different in her voice now. Not authority. Not distance. Something human. "What happened next?" I asked. She exhaled slowly, like she was stepping back into the memory. "It started raining harder," she said. "You finally finished and decided to leave. But when you got outside, you collapsed." The word hit me like a sudden drop. "Collapsed?" "You fainted," she said. "Right on the steps." A cold wave passed through me. "I didn't know," I whispered. "You wouldn't," she replied. "You were barely conscious." I tried to piece it together. The rain, the exhaustion, the long nights, the skipped meals, the constant pressure. It made sense. Too much sense. "I saw you from my car," she continued. "At first I thought you slipped. But when you didn't get up..." Her voice trailed off for a second, then steadied. "I ran to you. You were burning with fever. Your clothes were soaked. You kept trying to say something, but it didn't make sense." I felt a strange mix of embarrassment and disbelief. "You stayed?" She gave a small, almost incredulous smile. "Of course I stayed." No one had ever said it like that before. As if it was obvious. As if I was worth stopping for. "I couldn't take you to the hospital immediately," she said. "You were semi-conscious and the storm had blocked half the roads. So I brought you to my place. It was closer." My heart skipped. I struggled to process it. "You took me to your home?" "Yes." "And the shirt?" Her eyes softened again, and this time there was no hiding it. "You were freezing," she said. "Your clothes were soaked through. I had to change them." Heat rushed to my face, but she didn't look uncomfortable. "Just calm, matter of fact. I made you tea," she added. "You didn't drink much. You kept apologizing." "That sounds like me," I muttered. "You kept saying you couldn't lose this job," she said quietly. "That everything depended on it." I went still. The room seemed to fade for a moment, replaced by something heavier. The truth I rarely said out loud. "It does," I said. Or it did. She studied me carefully. Why? I hesitated, then let the words come. My father's gone. My mom's sick. I'm the only one earning. If I fail here, I shook my head. There's no backup. Silence settled between us. Again, but it felt different now. Not tense, understanding. I didn't know, she said. I didn't think it mattered, I replied. It does, she said firmly. Something in her tone made me believe her. What happened after? I asked quietly. You fell asleep, she said. Finally. You looked peaceful, like you hadn't rested in a long time. I exhaled slowly. And this morning? I had an early meeting, she said. I didn't have time to change back after making sure you were stable. So I wore the first clean shirt I could find. I blinked. My shirt. Yes. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then something unexpected happened. She smiled. Not the polite, controlled smile she wore in meetings. A real one. Warm, almost amused. You have good taste, she said. I let out a small, disbelieving laugh. This is insane. A little, she admitted. I stood there trying to process everything. The collapse, the care, the fact that the most powerful person in the company had carried me out of the rain and sat beside me while I burned with fever. Why? I asked finally. She tilted her head slightly. Why what? Why did you do all that? I said. You could have called someone, security, an ambulance, anyone. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked to the window, looking out at the city below. When she spoke, her voice was quieter. Because I've been there. I frowned. Where? On the edge, she said. Working until your body gives up. Thinking if you stop for even a moment, everything will fall apart. I watched her carefully. No one stopped for me, she added. Back then, something tightened in my chest. So I stopped for you. The simplicity of it hit harder than anything else. No speeches. No grand explanations. Just a choice. I looked at her differently then. Not as a title. Not as a position. As a person. Thank you, I said, my voice low. She turned back to me, and for the first time there was no distance between us. Just two people who had seen something real in each other. Get some rest tonight, she said. That's not a suggestion. I smiled faintly. Yes, ma'am. And one more thing, she added. Yes. She glanced down at the shirt, then back at me. You can have it back tomorrow. I shook my head, a quiet laugh escaping me. Keep it, I said. I think it suits you. For a moment she just looked at me. Then she smiled again, softer this time, and somehow everything felt different.